This is the Uncensored Podcast with Robert Peppo.
Do you think people will vote for me?
All right, what's up, everybody? Back again. It's been a little time off. This is number 45 with Uncensored with Robert Peppo. I've been off for a minute, but that's not because there's not a lot of things happening. It's because there's a lot of important things happening that took priority, right? So as you elevate, like my whole message is, you have to prioritize and then execute, right? Action over everything. You guys have heard me say this a bunch of times. When that happens, you have to do that, right? It's not just something I say, it's what I do. That was this, right? But I want to make a special shout out to Andrew, Nasty Wood Grain. He did our cutting board. He's done Buzz and Barbecues cutting boards, a bunch of cutting boards, really dope custom cutting boards. He messaged me. He's like, hey, man, just so you know, you have 66 more podcasts to do before you hit your goal. I was like, damn. Bro slid in my DMs and called me out and held me accountable. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that from everyone, even though it doesn't happen very often, whenever it does, because that's what I preach, right? And so I very much appreciate having those people around that aren't afraid to be like, hey, bro, let's get it. You talk a big game, you better do it. And that is why I talk like that. That is why I post the things that I do. That's why I am the way that I am, so that people hold me accountable. And when I say it, it has to happen, right? Because if you want to get something out of it, you have to follow it all the way through, or you're not going to get that result. This is my whole premise of this podcast, of my business. You have to see it through, okay? Everybody can start something, but who can finish it, all right? And whoever can finish it, you get the reward, okay? You have to see it through. So my man, Nasty Wood Grain, I'll tag him. I'll put him in the description. I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you very much. I want to have you on in this seat. You have a cool story too, and you have a dope product, and a lot of people like it. And I think everyone should know about that because you're grinding too. So I appreciate you guys. And if you have people in your life like that, dude, take that next step with them. People like me, I don't take offense to that. I'm like, bro, checked me. Got it. Check. Let's get it. You got to be built for that too, because if you're around high-level people, they expect a high-level result. And if you want to talk shit, you better be able to back it up. I often say if you're going to go at somebody, you better be a savage, right? Because if you're going to go at them and they come at you, you better be able to handle it, rebuttal, or come back, or handle your shit so you can stay part of that team, okay? You don't get to just be part of teams at a high level. You have to earn your spot, keep your spot, and keep adding value, or you get replaced or removed, okay? If you have people around you like that, keep them. Maybe you are that person. You need to start to curate that. Do that, okay? There's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of value in holding your friends and family and people accountable, right? You can be soft with them too, but if you want a result, if you want to live a good life and get the most out of things, it's okay to go hard and hold people accountable and call them out, all right? Some people thrive in that environment. That's me, okay? I like that. I'm competitive. I like that. I want the truth, all right? In your face, direct, all that. That's how life should be to me, okay? So with that being said, for number 45, now I only got 65 more to go, which I hope to be more consistent and do that, and more guests as well. There's been a bunch of people on my list. I keep saying that. It's when the time is right. Again, with high-level people and people doing shit, people are busy, okay? Especially people that are different parts of the country and all that, all right? Things will happen and things grow as they do. They stay the same as they do. I don't force these kind of things. I let them all happen organically and authentically as they should. But sometimes you do got to force some shit, okay? So don't be afraid to take that leap and take that step and go do that. Good things start to happen that way as well, okay? So it's a blend, all right? But anyway, what I've been talking about on my social media lately is this news article that came out, which is great. We were contacted from a news reporter that got information that I was in the community, in the schools, doing stuff. I'm like, excellent. She emailed and was like, hey, I would like to do a piece on you guys. I hear your story. It's pretty decent. I was like, all right, bet. So we jumped on the phone call, and I said, what would you like to hit? What is your goal with this? What did you hear? What's accurate? What's not? I don't know. And she was like, yeah, I heard you were in the schools, you know, and I know you were involved in a lot of different things or whatever. She just heard from, I don't know. I actually don't know who, but she heard some things. So I was like, yeah, I've been involved in a bunch of stuff. So we had a nice conversation, and she's like, cool, I'll come in and we'll do the interview at Peppo's and stuff. I'm like, cool. I built out the nice office. You know, we got space, you know, cool. So, all right, cool. We're going to do that. And I was like, all right, I didn't really think about it at the time, you know, how to curate my message other than, you know, I really want to, this is a perfect timing to talk about franchising and launch it and have it in a publication. And so people get to hear about that. So I was like, all right, bet this is going to be decent. I mean, I've been doing this. We've had newspaper articles since I've been there, right? Chicago's Best, the Bears, the White Sox, Max, Struess, the homie. Congratulations to him on a stellar season. It didn't end how he wanted it to, but he's the man, and he's doing great. So, like, we've been around in these things. This is not new to me, but I thought about, okay, you know, I'm going to end it strong with that, and then I'm going to follow that up with some marketing afterwards. So I kind of already had a little bit of thought pattern going into this, right? We're in a real different spot where we're elevating and leveling up, and I want to make sure I curate that and control that message to put our brand in the best position possible, not only one for, you know, customers and steady flow of people today, but also for that next step that we're taking. And that takes, you know, some finesse and some control and some measures to make sure that happens correctly. That's why people have publicists and PRs and people are coached on how to do these things. Okay. I'm aware of that. And so I was conscious of that going in. And so she's like, cool, let's set a meeting time or whatever. So I'm like, all right, bet it's got to be in the morning time or in the afternoon. It's what I do with everybody. All my meetings are set either, you know, 8 to 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. or something like that. And that's it. So I was like, all right, bet. So I can leave ample amount of time for you. We're not pulled away. We're not bothered with things. There's not a ton of shit going on, which there is a lot, but you try and make this happen. Right. So I was like, all right, cool. So we get to set the date and the time comes 10 a.m. I'm like, damn, where's she at? I check my notes. Like, was I wrong? Right. I'm wrong sometimes, but not a lot. Because I'm meticulous with my things because that's how we had to build this franchise program. It's how I've had to build my business and make successful. I'm very meticulous on these things. And so I looked at my notes that I wrote down from the phone conversation. It said 10 a.m. Okay. I looked in my calendar when I entered it right in the calendar. It said 10 a.m. And then I set an alarm also on my phone. It's what I do, right? Like, I don't miss things. I'm on time all the time, always. I don't miss. It's just my thing, right? So I'm like, all right, fuck. Damn, did we miss a shot, right? Miss our opportunity for a write-up. So I'm like, damn right. Well, maybe it was 10:30. Maybe I just got it wrong. 10:30 rolls around now. All right, well, what the fuck? So then I'm like getting a little like, man, damn. She's just going to straight blow us off for nothing. Check my emails, nothing. Check the phone, nothing. All right. But things happen, right? Things happen. I get it. Actually, it brings me to a good point. When I was in Africa many years ago, on a mission trip, which is written in the article, we were waiting for a group of the Kenyans, the local Kenyans that were taking us around and our partners out there when we were doing our mission work and rehabbing houses and going into the city of Nairobi and the slums and everything. And they weren't there. And time had passed, like an hour or two, right? And what did I just say? I'm always on a time frame. I'm always on time. This is what we got to do. So I'm like, you know, where are they? You know, whatever. I wasn't the leader at the time, okay? So they were like, you know, we got to get this done. We're on a time frame. You know, the bus will be coming and this and that. And they're like, it's all good. Hakuna Matata, right? They didn't say that, but it's true. No worries. And they're like, damn, okay, well, they don't seem to think this is a big deal at all. I'm chilling. We're talking with people, doing whatever. And so I hear them again, you know, where are they going to be? Did you get a hold of them? They're like, no, it's okay. They're coming. They would tell us if they're not, or, you know, something must have happened. And that was the main point. They said something must have happened because we value everybody's time, that I'm also going to value them and assume that they didn't just blow us off. Something must have happened that was important, and I should respect and understand that. I was like, damn, that's a great perspective to have. Now, sure, we would like to assume, right, that's putting, you know, the benefit of the doubt out there, that is what happened. In our culture here in America, that's usually not the case. Sometimes you get blown off, or someone's just like, I had some other shit to do, or they're fucking around, or they're just late, whatever it is. But over there, it was extremely genuine, and I really liked that. Now, I'm a timely person, and I expect other people to be as well. But imagine you take that stance, and you're like, man, what the fuck? They blew me off. Or even your staff is late, which happens. If you're listening, staff, you know who you are. But what if that time something happens, and you're like, send them a mean text, or you fucking chalk it up to bullshit or whatever, and you're wrong, okay? Damn, that would suck, right? So let's go ahead and take that presumption that, yo, you good? So my perspective now is if anything has happened and you're late, hey, you okay? Did something happen? I'll take that, because if it's not, if it's just that, we can go that route and go hard. But if it is something actually going on and something important that they had to do, then I'm going to be understanding of that, right? The doctor calls, you get your results in for something, right? It's important. I get it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just wait and see. Well, like 11 o'clock rolls by. I'm like, cool. Well, it's not happening today, whatever. Hopefully she'll get a hold of us. Then like 11:10, 11:15 rolls in. She's like, oh, I'm here for internet. Like, fuck, man. Getting into our busy time. I was already shifted out my mindset to do this. But I'm like, oh, I thought you were going to be here at 10. Is everything good? Do you still want to do this? She's like, oh, it was at 10. I'm like, damn. All right. So this is how it's going to start. You like didn't have your notes prepared or nothing. Like, all right, whatever. But I'm like, you know what? This is a good opportunity. Let's do it. All right. Come back in the office. I'm like, it's no big deal. Everybody's on, fully staffed, good to go. And so we get back in there. She's got her, pad of paper and everything like this. I still use pads of paper and shit. So she sits down. She's like, okay, and I first small talk, oh, I'm glad you're here. How'd you hear about us? Oh, hearing about the community. And so she's like, so tell me about how's business been. And so I start like, it's really good. And, we're thankful that we made it through COVID, even though I didn't want to hit that, right? It's just a thing. And I'm just like, oh, this is it. I haven't talked to this lady before. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'll mention that. She's like, oh, give me 1 second. So I was trying, I'm like, what are you writing? I didn't really say anything yet. And, so whatever. And she's like, okay, so you guys did good through COVID, right? Oh, I was, expect it wasn't so good. I'm like, well, yeah, it wasn't fucking good for anybody, of course. This story's dead. Like, COVID's done and gone. Like, why are we talking about this anymore? Like, us as a business, we are far past it. We don't talk about it, think about it. It's nothing now. So whatever. And so I was like, all right, sure, whatever. It's a story, right? We'll just go ahead and talk about whatever happened. And then, then we started to backtrack because I wanted to back it up. And she's like, how did you start in the business? And part of the story is that my dad, Mr. Peppo, did have cancer, and he did have to take care of getting stents in his heart to make sure his heart was strong enough for the cancer treatment and surgery and then radiation. So that is part of the story, but we don't want to make that the main part, right? Because my dad's still here. He's doing good. And so it's a point, and it does make a good story. I get it. But we don't want to, continue to talk about that. And there's been other articles about that already as well. So this is part of my curation of the good story of today, right? She said she was here about me and my come up. And although my dad's obviously part of my come up, she had told me the direction of the interview. So I was like, I don't really want to harp on that. Jim is, out of the limelight. He doesn't want to, he's not been in the limelight ever. He doesn't want to, a pity party. He doesn't want people to feel bad for him. We don't want people to think, oh gosh, shucks, none of that. Right. So like it's part of it, but let's not really hit on that. Whatever. She writes it down, all this and that. Okay, cool. I'm waiting. And then a couple of times she's like, oh, can you slow down a little bit? I'm like, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Do you have an audio recorder? Do you want to do that instead? Like bust your phone out and record this? Cause that would be good too. And then you won't miss a point. And so I said, well, after high school, I got a full ride scholarship to college. I said I got a full ride scholarship to college, right? And she said, oh, what was that? Writing it. I'm like, a full ride for football. I'm going to go to college to play football for free. And so she's like, oh, okay. Where'd you go? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah, but it didn't work out because that was the same time my dad got sick, which we already hit. And now you see how this timeline's jumping back and forth. So I'm like, all right, I got to slow this down, control this a little bit more because we're jumping here. And I don't want the story to jump, right? Because I want it to flow well and make a good story. I'm not the writer, but this is our business and our life, and it leads to what we're doing. And I want that message to flow and really make sense. And I want it to be accurate. Of course we want it to be accurate. Because the people who know us, who've been around a long time, would be like, oh, that don't make sense. Did I say that? I was being interviewed. Did I say some wrong shit or some dumb shit? And I don't want that look, right? Because if I did misspeak, no problem, but I kind of got this. I kind of know what would do. And so I was like, all right, let me slow this down. And so we just talked about, when I stopped going to college, I started to read a lot. Then I, found mentors. And she said, well, was your dad your mentor? I was like, well, naturally. I don't call my dad my mentor because he's been my dad, number one. And we've been in business together as me, just an employee coming up under him, my dad. Then a partner with him when he gave me ownership, right? And then now I'm the owner and I gave him his retirement. So although, yes, you could say he's my mentor, he's already in the story as my dad. If you don't pick that up, then I don't know what to tell you. So I said, my little progression of how these things worked. I read more books than probably anybody right? So I was strong on that because anybody reading this, like the kids that I talk to in school, I want you to know there's a non-traditional path or some other options out there for you. And this is how you do it, right? That was the whole point of this. And so she kind of was like writing stuff down and, oh, who are your mentors? What did they do? I was like, well, one was in railroads with Burlington Northern Santa Fe, sold to Warren Buffett. The other one was in steel. And I've had just a few other ones that have been instrumental, right? My uncle, whatever. And they've kind of really at these critical points brought this thing to me, right? That adds to my game. But it's cool. She put that in there. It was decent. And I get it. It's about the family business and all that. So kudos for that. But again, I saw it taking this, like, did you write that? Did you want to know more about that? And then she'd ask like, oh, can you repeat that? I'm like, which part? Because I said books and then mentors, but those weren't at the same time, which goes in the time frame, whatever. My point of this is that she was struggling to write it down as I was saying it. And I recognized that, so I slowed it down. And then I would make like a little bit bolder of this is what happened. But then she would like jump back. So like, let's go back to this. Okay. So we did. And it was like an hour conversation, which was cool. And I didn't know how long the article was going to be. I sure didn't know it was going to be on the front page. So that's cool. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just give you what we got and then we'll see how it goes. And I thought about flowing it properly into, we moved to our new location here and expanded and business is increasing and I'm out in the community because that's what I needed, right? I wanted a mentor. I needed that. So now my give back is, since I received that, I'm going to give that back. Because when you give things back, it comes, right? This is this revolving energy of giving and receiving and how it works. And so I wanted to put that message out there. This is what the premise was, is that I'm out there doing it and this is my journey. And then she asked about the Army too. And about Afghanistan, and made a little comment like, do you want me to include that? I was like, well, what does that mean? She said, well, I don't know how people feel about it. I'm like, what do you mean people feel about that? It's my story. Like, it's not, somebody can feel any way they want to about any part of anybody's story. But it's a really good thing. People actually really like that part and are thankful. And my dad's a veteran. I'm a veteran. We're prideful for that, right? We're patriotic. Right? This is what it is. Like, proud Americans, man. So yeah, put that in. She's like, oh, okay, I just didn't know. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Hey, ask your questions. I'll answer. No problem. I ain't got nothing to hide from nobody anyway. And so that was included in there. It's whatever. And I said exactly what it was. Right. And she got it pretty right. So that was good. But, as it went on, I'm like, okay, I see this progression coming now and I want to end it strong, right? I want to end it with what we're doing today. All that leading up to what I'm doing today, which is in the schools, but also franchising, of course, is what we're doing. And so I do this and I kind of see it coming to the end, right? It's my story. I kind of know where it goes. And so I'm like, all that really put me in a position now to tie all of that together and to grow our business, with franchising. It's what we're doing currently. It's live. It's really exciting. It's great for our business. It's going to be great for our family, great for our employees, lots of opportunities. She's like, what's that? I was like, oh, and I was literally like, if you don't know what franchising is, cool, I'll tell you. I said, it's, when other people can, own the Peppo's business. And she's like, oh, so you're not going to be the owner. I was like, no, I am. I'm the big owner, right? And other people can own also. And I, franchise to them like a license deal. They can use our name. She goes, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's what it is. And it would be like people want to be part of our company and I give them the okay. I train them and then I help them and then they go do it in another location with me a little bit, but more so on their own. But I'm still part of it. Gave her the, the ones and twos. She's like, oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. And she's writing stuff down. So I'm like, all right, did you get it? That's cool. Maybe you do some research, right? You take your notes, you kind of look it over, you write it. And there wasn't any of that in there, which, hey, no problem. I'm happy with the article. It was good. Okay. It was decent and I'm happy about it. It turned out really good. We got the front page, right? You can't be mad about that. All right. And it was pretty good. It highlighted me and Jim and it was on the front page and then went into another page as well, but this is my point about curating your message and making sure you have some pointed ways to do it. People are going to go back and write whatever they want, right? I would like it to be as accurate as possible and tell the full story and then end good. It didn't end with anything other than, and Jim's still there. Like, that basic, right? I ended it with the strong, great thing that someone who didn't graduate college from, who got mentors, read books, and helped students in entrepreneurship can now do this big fucking thing that has this massive goal at the end of it that's extremely big and hard and difficult, but it's good for everybody involved. Okay, there's massive opportunity for every single part of the program. And so we missed all of that because I even then was going to, when the article dropped, attach some advertising to push to the Peppo's franchising to get applicants in, right? So one thing drops here and you follow it right back up with something else, to maximize that momentum. And I wasn't able to do that. And that's okay because I'm still happy with this. It was good feedback. People saw it. People liked it. It was online, whatever. But it didn't tie it all together with where we are today, which is sort of sad to me. So again, I'm happy with the promotion and being put out there in the community and being well received. I don't want that to be misconstrued, but this is a talking point to make sure that you get across your point specifically. And here's one way that I have now come up with because of this to do that. Having set responses to different things, right? Like I know my business, I can set some responses that are going to come from some questions, right? We have a long history. There's some critical points in this history that matter that people care about. And then there's a whole bunch that people don't care about, right? The mundane stuff. So I know those critical points. We can use that and curate that. Then I can have that written out and detail that after we have this conversation. Here's a fact sheet, right? Here's some of what I just said reiterated with, clear, definitive things. I'm going to do that. I've done that in my business with systems and processes anyway. And then in training and especially this franchise thing, I could have foreseen this happening, especially as we get some PR, as we open new locations. I already had like blurbs to write for that. But now I'm going to look at it from a little bit different perspective because we have to tie in some of those ownership qualities, some of the story, right? People connect with stories. People want to know about you and your business and the support. And it's a marriage of these things, right? So it made me improve. So I'm happy for that. I don't want anybody to think I'm not happy about this, whatever, but I just see things in this big picture type of way. And now I can see how to get even better, right? And I also hope that she gets better because of this too. Because it could be really good and it could be really beneficial for her, for us, all this. And then it rolls into all these other things. And I'm conscious of that. And that's the part I want to nail down is that when you get to the next level, you have to be conscious of all these things as a big picture. And then you just get the best result from it, right? So from this, I got to learn all about, plus also the picture on here, I kind of looked mad. And I wasn't. We were outside, the sun was coming right on us and I was squinting, and I always wear sunglasses like this, right? But it was the middle of lunch because she came late. There was people there. We're like, yo, we can snap a quick picture, no problem. Get out there and it's sunny and she's like pulling up her phone, fumbling with it, taking ones or two. Oh, go over here. How about this? And I'm like, oh shit. And I wear sunglasses all the time, quite literally, because I get really bad headaches. And so I'm squinting a lot and I do that. And it looks like that. Like, it's not bad. Like, for sure. Again, it's still the front page with our logo and us right on it. But I was like, damn, I'm squinting hard, which makes it look like I'm tough. And I put that persona on, right? But I would not do that necessarily when you're in the public fucking eye, whatever. So it was a great learning experience all the way around. And so you got to be ready for what comes next when your business levels up or when you get these opportunities. If you're good, naturally on the fly, cool. You can do that, which I thought that I was. But if you want to take it one step further, you can have additional tools and aids in there to assist you, assist the person, make it even better. Okay. Have it preset, ready to go. Be authentic and organic in the interview, like I was and like I'm saying. And then you can add value to that, right? You know, one of the points was full ride scholarship. She put Fulbright scholarship, Fulbright scholar. Okay. Fulbright scholar is a thing. It's an exchange program. Overseas students come here or we go there, something like that. So I believe she, listened and heard Fulbright, wrote down Fulbright, full ride, very similar, sees it online, and it is a thing. And I was in Africa, right? And I've traveled a lot of places. We didn't cover that, but I have. So I could see how that makes sense, except for it's not that accurate. And anyone who knows me would be like, what is that? Oh, you did that? Or it's just not accurate. So we'd like it to be accurate. And so just these little points make me reassess everything and come up with the best way forward. And so I'm happy for that. So that's what I get to do with this. Building the things with care and confidence is that you get to do it your way. And if you're aware enough to recognize all these things, you really can curate every kind of result that you want as much as possible. You can't control it all, but you can really put a lot out there to get it done. So I leave you with, take a step back, because at first I was like, oh, what am I going to say? I'm going to do this. And then I was like, you know what? No, this is a good learning experience, and I'm going to use that to get myself even better for the next one that happens. And the next one is inevitably going to happen. It's going to happen because we're going to push for it, and it's going to happen organically because it's going to come to us. But we will be ready even better for that one. So I hope you got something good out of this one. I'm going to be more consistent with you guys. DM me if you guys need anything, want to collaborate. I'm starting a mastermind group, which we already did one with great feedback. I put out some feelers out there to people. Great feedback on that. That's a chance to do this, but one-on-one, actually get results, get held accountable, put real things in action, and start to get real results back. That's going to be a really fun thing coming up. That's going to pair with this, but be in real life, hands-on with other business owners, from fucking doctors, plumbers, electricians, landscapers, restaurants, hair. There's all these people bring something different to the table, right? I can host it and run it, but these other good people that bring other insight in about the nuances of their business, that I can say, oh yeah, it's like that with mine. Or, oh, that's different because you got to think of it very differently. I didn't think about it like that. Now it adds value to me, right? Time is limited. So how can we maximize our time and get the best things out of it with high-level people that are around? That's the next thing coming. Okay, because I'm already doing that with the franchising. I'm coaching these people. I'm building their businesses with them. I have the model. Well, let's do it together. The next step is always right there if you can see it, and then just take it. So I'll leave you with that. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Links will be in the description. Again, shout out my boy Nasty Woodgrain, Andrew. Thank you. Stay badass, y'all. Let's get it. This is the Uncensored Podcast with Robert Peppo.
Do you think people will vote for me?